In the 2nd century BC, revealing one single secret could cost you your head. This secret wasn't a treasure map. It was a worm. For over 1,000 years, China alone held the secret to crafting the softest fabric the world had ever known. Anyone caught smuggling it out faced execution. Yet that never stopped merchants and spies from risking their lives for threads. Spun from an insect's saliva, how did this precious fabric travel thousands of kilometers across deadly deserts and merciless mountains to reach Roman emperors who paid its weight in gold? In this episode, we'll uncover how silk transformed from a Chinese military secret into a trade network spanning continents, how it was weaponized for espionage, and how it was finally smuggled out by 2 monks, hidden inside a hollow bamboo cane. This isn't just a story about fabric. It's a story of greed, betrayal, and the cunning that changed the course of the entire world's economic history. Follow me on Echoes of the Middle Ages, because this thread of silk is exactly like a thread of blood. One day, in the court of ancient China, as the empress sipped her tea beneath a mulberry tree, a small cocoon fell into her cup and slowly began to unravel, revealing a single thread, long, shimmering, and seemingly endless. From that moment, a secret was born that would change the course of history. Silk. Producing silk was never just a craft. It was a state secret. Anyone who revealed the method of raising silkworms or smuggled their eggs beyond the border faced death. Imperial guards watched the frontiers tirelessly, turning every silk-producing village into forbidden ground for outsiders. In the 2nd century BC, the Chinese emperor sent an envoy named Zhang Qian westward, searching for military allies. He never found the allies he sought, but he returned with something far more valuable: a map of trade routes previously unknown, routes that would soon become the lifeline connecting east and west. But this route was no free gift. Caravans had to cross the Taklamakan Desert, whose name in the local language means, "Those who enter do not leave." Shifting sands, deadly heat, and storms that could bury entire caravans. And yet, merchants kept walking, because every step was measured in gold. Beyond the desert, another obstacle awaited: the Pamir Mountains, which the ancients called the roof of the world. Narrow passes along sheer cliffs, merciless snow, and thin air that stole every breath. Many caravans never arrived, but those who survived carried with them the most precious cargo the ancient world had ever known. Chinese merchants never delivered silk directly to Rome. There was a middle link: Sogdian and Parthian traders, who controlled the distribution route and deliberately hid silk's true origin from the Romans. Every hand it passed through added another layer of secrecy and another layer of profit. When silk finally reached Rome, it triggered a kind of obsession. Emperors and nobles competed to wear sheer fabric that shimmered in the sun, paying literally its weight in gold. Some say Rome's defeat at the Battle of Carrhae marked its first direct encounter with shimmering silk banners raised by their enemy's army. Roman elites grew alarmed as the empire's treasury drained toward an unknown merchant far in the east. The Roman Senate passed laws attempting to limit silk wearing, and some philosophers described it as a scandalous garment that reveals the body rather than covers it. Yet demand only grew, and so did the fortunes of those who controlled the route. Warriors across Central Asia discovered a remarkable property in silk. When woven into dense, layered fabric, it wouldn't tear easily when pierced by an arrow. Instead, it would wrap tightly around the metal arrowhead. This meant a wound became far easier to treat, since a physician could pull out the arrow along with the fabric wrapped around it, rather than digging into the flesh, searching for metal fragments. Military commanders soon began requesting silk armor to be worn beneath metal mail, turning this soft fabric from a symbol of luxury into a tool that saved lives on the battlefield. Silk was never just a luxury fabric. It became a diplomatic and intelligence tool. China used it as a political gift to buy loyalty and forge alliances. while trading networks exploited it as the perfect cover for smuggling information and secret messages between rival empires across a route spanning thousands of kilometers. Centuries later, the center of ambition shifted to the Byzantine Empire. Emperor Justinian was paying enormous sums to Persian middlemen for silk, desperate to break a monopoly that had lasted over 1,000 years. All he needed was two people willing to risk their lives. According to historical accounts, two Christian monks who had lived in China for years volunteered for the mission. They hid silkworm eggs inside a hollow bamboo cane and traveled thousands of kilometers back to Constantinople. Had they been discovered at any checkpoint, their necks would not have survived that secret. The monks finally arrived and handed the cane to the emperor. Within just a few years, Byzantium became an independent producer of silk, and a monopoly that had lasted over 1,000 years collapsed in a single moment. The East no longer held this secret alone, and the map of economic power in the ancient world changed forever. After silkworm eggs entered Byzantium, a new journey began toward Eastern Europe. Byzantine monks and craftsmen carried their knowledge to regions like Sicily and Greece, where mulberry trees found a suitable climate to grow. Over time, mulberry cultivation and silkworm farming moved northward into parts of the Balkans and Eastern Europe, where farmers established entire orchards dedicated solely to feeding this tiny creature. Neither China nor Byzantium alone held this secret any longer. It slowly spread across the continent, and entire farming villages became small silk production centers, serving local markets instead of relying entirely on imports from the East. In the 13th century, the Mongol Empire unified vast territories stretching from China to Eastern Europe under a single authority. For the first time in centuries, caravans could travel thousands of kilometers with relative safety, thanks to what later became known as the Pax Mongolica. This unprecedented stability allowed silk trade to flourish like never before, opening the route for Europeans like Marco Polo to reach the heart of Asia for the first time in history. Marco Polo, the young Venetian merchant, was not the first European to travel east, but he was the first to document his journey in enough detail to make all of Europe dream of the Orient. His writings described thriving Chinese cities and markets filled with fabrics the West had never seen before. Many in Europe accused him of exaggeration and lies, yet his book later became one of the key references that pushed an entire generation of explorers to search for a direct route to the riches of the East. Italian cities like Venice, Lucca, and Florence were no longer content with simply importing silk. They decided to produce it themselves. They established strictly secretive craft guilds, forbidding any weaver from leaving the city with their craft knowledge, under threat of severe punishment. These Italian cities soon transformed into global centers for luxury silk production, directly rivaling its ancient Eastern sources and establishing a new era of European wealth built on textiles. But this stability did not last forever. With the rise of the Ottoman Empire and its control over the main land crossings between Asia and Europe, heavy taxes were imposed on caravans, and the land route became more dangerous and costly than ever before. This trade blockage, specifically, is what pushed European kingdoms to search for an alternative sea route to the east, launching the age of maritime exploration that would redraw the map of the entire world. This isn't just a story about fabric. It's a story of greed, betrayal, and the cunning that changed the course of the entire world's economic history. Follow me on Echoes of the Middle Ages, because this thread of silk is exactly like a thread of blood.